The one step would be literally your mind, because your body will follow whatever the mind says. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if you focused on a healthier body or a healthier you, your little inner spirit, I call it the who in you, that who needs to be driven to change you. And so working on the mind over everything is the most important thing you can do. So if you wanted one takeaway, it would be believe that you can be better. Believe you can make that dream happen. Believe you can influence others. Believe you can start.
Living with autoimmunity doesn't mean settling for less. Inspired Living with Autoimmunity is the show for high achievers who want the energy and vitality to live fully, not just manage symptoms. With your host and autoimmune coach, Julie Houghton. It's time to take your power back.
ZuZu, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad I'm here. You have such a fun way of interviewing and what you do. I'm so honored to be here. So thank you for having me.
You are more than welcome. Your energy and passion for what you do is not only evident, but also contagious. So I thank you for joining us and bringing some of that to the show. I would love to learn more about, ZuZu maybe 1.0 or, but what led you to this passion for wellness and for empowering people to take charge of their own wellness?
Oh, it was interesting because when I started doing podcasts, I had no idea how many people would ask me about my own journey. Like I was just here to talk about their journey and whatever, And I come to realize, I guess that's an important part of it, but I reversed my epilepsy when I was in my early 20s because I didn't want to be on 3 medications, pharmaceuticals when I was going to have a baby someday. I just didn't want that. And so that's when things kind of triggered what was going on. I was like, wait a minute, if I could reverse my epilepsy in 3.5 months using food, because now it's interesting because I was in my early 20s. I didn't know that I'd become this and do all of this and have this. I mean, I didn't know that I'd be interested in all this. Now, when I look back at what I ate and what I was doing, it's exactly what I tell people right now when I'm helping people get, rid of their seizures or off of epileptic medications. Well, they do that part, but I just help them understand epilepsy. It's been really cool because I'm like, it's a GABA, it's a neurotransmitter disorder, right? That's what epileptic is, right? That's what epilepsies and seizures are, is GABA is that neurotransmitter that controls all the electricity in the body. So with Tourette's and seizures and whatever. So it was really fun because now I look at the foods I ate and I'm like, yeah, because they're loaded in B vitamins. Yeah, because they're loaded with, GABA naturally with the walnuts and the spinach and the banana. It was just really neat. So now I know the science behind what I was
worked.
Right? Yeah, what worked. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. And so, and then I just started having children and I, didn't want to be putting them on medications for anything. And doctors are like, let's just put tubes in their ears just in case. And I'm like, no, no. And I got into homeopathy and herbs and grinding my own wheat and baking my own bread. I just had a ball and I loved sharing. So I started just teaching and educating at a young age. And and then I opened a store and then I opened another store and then I opened a wellness clinic, then I opened another wellness clinic. It just kind of kept growing and growing and growing. Then I wrote a book, then I wrote another book, then I wrote more books, So it's just a lot of fun. So
which is amazing. And it does not seem like you have any plans of slowing down or stopping anytime soon.
So we're doing this documentary and it's an amazing documentary. I'm really excited to get it done and I'll send you a link when it's done.
Yeah.
But it is the ending of the documentary is because it's about not giving up. It's about what one person can do when you have a mind to not quit. And so the whole documentary spans about 20 some years and it's absolutely amazing. I love it. But the end of it, Julie, we decided so we have the wellness center, we have the 69 acres, we're building out the 69 acres, we're putting up oppie houses and dome houses and all this stuff, right? I go look at the old historic hotel that needs probably multi-millions of dollars to restore. And then I go look at the old theater and I'm like, we're going to buy one of those. And so we thought at the end of the documentary, we'll just have us all standing outside going, well, It's never going to end.
Never ends.
I
There's
got,
always
yeah,
more, you know.
always.
Yeah, it's the same with our healing and health journey too, right? Like we're never done. There's always new opportunities, always things that need shifting, and then my favorite part is always, when somebody goes from just, fatigued and chronically ill to now their bar is so raised, but now they're hooked, and like you, like me, like, and they just want to keep optimizing, and so it is amazing how it does snowball that way, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, when you have more energy and you're feeling better and you're cleaner and you just want to do more and more and more, and then you want to naturally start playing this or start playing pickleball, or just you start work out more, and then you get even healthier. And it's, oh, I'm gonna go do. It's just a neat thing to watch people's lives. It's like the onion effect. You get rid of the bad, the bad
Absolutely.
layer, and the next
Yeah.
layer, and the next layer. So it's
Yeah.
cool.
It's fantastic. So let's dig in so that we can give you an opportunity to share some of your wisdom with our audience. We can just start with like just the sheer numbers of chronic symptoms people have these days. Like how I remember, back when in my early 30s when I was diagnosed with RA, even then I was told, even by the doctors, oh, you're so young, and now it almost seems like if you make it to your 30s without some kind of an autoimmune or chronic illness, it's unusual, which is really sad. We're talking 25 years, 28 years, somewhere in there, the big change. So what do you think is like, why have we normalized not feeling well?
Because it's been normalized by
Right.
by
Maybe
society.
not you and I, but
Yeah, exactly. But it is. It's like you go to I always tease about this. Like 20 years ago, I was teasing about it. Yeah, you go to your family reunion, you're like, well, my son has blank. Well, my daughter has blank. Well, my daughter and my son have. It's like,
yeah.
oh, wait a minute here. When did we start celebrating sickness and disease? Like, when did we start like having to measure up to the person next to us, right?
It's kind of
Anyhow,
like
but
the how wearing busyness as a badge, right? Like,
or not sleeping.
yeah,
So it's like,
yeah,
go for you. You go for it. No, that's not a good thing. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think it's because we ended up putting people inside more. You can definitely look at how we grew up. We're both the same age within a few months,
yeah.
and like we played outside until the sun set, and we came
Yes.
in, and we were active. We were outside. We were part of the earth. We were part of the nature. We were touching the earth. We were jumping in the pool. Jumping in our lake and our pond, and walking up and down streets, Main Street. It just was such a different lifestyle, and we didn't have cell phones. We did not have anything like we do right now when it comes to EMFs, and that is probably to me the biggest culprit in the world is EMFs right now. And it's interesting because EMFs trigger so much. Like if you have mold in your home, EMFs is making it worse, right? If you have mold in the body, EMFs is making it worse. But people are sleeping with their phones next to their head, and people are like addicted to their phone and scrolling, and then they're holding it, and all that electricity is going through their body. And I'm like, people, if they don't know, they don't know. But if they don't understand how electrons work and atoms work and what, then you are going to be kind of living in this this field of not knowing when you have the keys literally all
Yeah.
around you to stop some of this. So, being aware of electromagnetic frequencies and their roles, minerals and vitamins and their roles, there's a lot someone could do right now when they go home after listening to this, or if they're at home, there's a lot they could do immediately to curtail and pull back on some of that EMF exposure, and they don't even know how simple it can be. So
Yeah. And I love that you say that because people do think it's like, oh, well, then you're saying I have to go live in a cave, or I haven't looked myself, but I read something recently that said there's now like fine print in the cell phone packaging that says to keep it 6 feet away from your body at all times.
finally,
Well, who does that, right? Like, that's that we should just have phones again and freedom and like, oh yeah, I'm outside. I can't talk to you right now.
exactly. Yeah.
It
Yep.
is, and then I'm not bashing, then I also love that with the technology comes this ability that you and I can have this conversation and then it can get broadcast around the world, right? So but like you
Yes.
said, it's that like steps we can take, all
Yeah.
of us, not just special people, to reduce the impact and just be really intentional.
Yeah, and it really is. I've been teaching about EMFs for decades now, and I go by TDSN. So time, distance, shielding, and nutrition. How much time are we exposed to whatever it might be? It might be your smart meter on the outside of your home. Those are really bad, by the way. So if you have a smart meter, and most of you do, please call your electric company and ask them to put an analog meter back on your home, because you did not give them permission at all to put a smart meter on. Homeland Security did that. And you're very well monitored that way, by the way. So they know when your garage door is opening up. They know when you're home. They know when the wash machine's running. They know everything. And so but that smart meter is 100 times more dangerous to your body than your cell phone is, and 100 times stronger. So at least getting your analog meter back on, you can get a smart meter shield, which can help. You can do some protective, putting multiple layers of aluminum foil or tin foil on the back of a mirror or a picture and putting it over where the smart meter's on the other side of the wall. There's all sorts of things you can do, piece of metal, but making sure that's taken care of is huge. And then the simple things like turn off the Wi-Fi. No one needs Wi-Fi. You can all go back to Ethernet. You're going to live, right? And if you need Wi-Fi for download time, great, turn it on, download what you need and turn it off again. And you don't need it all night while you're sleeping. You don't need it radiating your whole body, And so it's just some things people just aren't thinking about, but you and I, we work around electricity. What's that?
Yeah. Well, and simple tips like Wi-Fi, nobody needs it while they're sleeping. So put it on a timer. If you're not going to remember to go turn it off, just buy they're cheap, old school, put it on a time. Mine's on a timer because I don't want to have to even think about it. And then I can always turn it off additionally if I need to or want to, but that way I know for sure when I'm sleeping, it's off. I don't have to think about it. And I've had clients where we've actually used that as a way to get them to improve their sleep habits.
Yes, good.
Yeah, because all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, Wi-Fi's off. I'm going to bed.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah.
And people can protect their cells better. People don't do a lot of that either. And for those of you who are around a lot of technology, chlorella is amazing. Chlorella is going to help you build a very strong cellular wall so that your cells are more resistant to things like Wi-Fi and iodine. The longer you're around, a lot of EMFs, you're going to have a little lower in iodine. So building up your iodine reserves with nasty and iodine. There's some simple things people can do. We use tachyon, which is 0-point energy. So it's physics, but we use that on all of our computers. We wear it. We have that. So there's just some things to become aware of, but then at least you won't feel so groggy all the time. That's the whole thing is you get and plus candida, not only does Wi-Fi amplify any kind of mold, but it also amplifies candida and cancer. People don't realize cancer grows 1,642 times faster. That's 1,600 times faster when exposed to pulsing technology. Wow. That's incredible. If you have cancer, don't go hang out at Starbucks, right? Don't go hang out at your local library with 100, cell phones going on. So it's just getting aware of some of the simple things we can do, some of the changes we can make, and just becoming aware. That's the main thing.
Well, and it's so interesting because you have been in this world, this space for so long. I can imagine, all the things that we have now have science to back. We're, woo crazy. I was laughing when you said tinfoil, the tinfoil hat and the whole, but it's all reality-based, science-based, and true. So, it's time to catch up.
Well, for any doubter out there, I had a lady call and they couldn't put steel, because I always recommend metal, on the inside of the house on the opposite side of where your smart meter is. And she couldn't do that because there was all these windows there. So I had her take a piece of plywood and literally put multiple layers of tinfoil on the plywood and put it against the window. She called me. She reached out a month later. She says, Karen, it's full of holes. The EMFs were so bad that it dug through the holes. It made holes. I'm like, well, then you're going to go get a piece of metal, honey, and that's it. You're going to put metal in front of that door for the window for the rest of your time you're living there. But it was crazy because those EMFs, if they're penetrating through tinfoil through a window, imagine what they're doing to your brain, or to your body. It's not rocket science isn't hard, by the way, but it's not rocket science. It's very important.
There is no longer a question. I mean, there just can't be. Yet at the same time, here you are using technology, and that's the exciting part, right? Is again, we don't have to just, move to a private island. We just can take steps to, like you said, change, be in charge of our environment, but then also support our body at increasing resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. And the more fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, all those plants you keep hearing people like us lecture about, right, Julie? That's how you fortify the body. Minerals conduct electricity, and vitamins are the cofactors for minerals. So if you don't have the right cofactors, you're not going to have minerals that are ever working in the body. It's like there's just so much synergistic activity inside the cell when we have the right constituents in there. So it works. It works.
Which is, that is the fun part. That's the amazing part, right? Is that it is actually a lot simpler than it seems. And for listeners that are, have been to doctor and they're struggling, and really the foundational stuff is where you're going to feel the needle move. And it is incredible. I know you teach a lot about minerals, and you just mentioned we need the vitamins and we need the minerals. Do you think, is that like another layer of this, I'll call it like excess of chronic illness, is the mineral depletion in our food system?
100%. 100%. I'm a chart fanatic. Like, all my students get so many charts because I'm like, here's all your neurotransmitters, what they do and where to find them. And here's all your, all your hormones and what they do and where to find them. Here's all your minerals, here's all your vitamins, here's all your fats. I am just amino acids, everything. Because I'm like, when people realize that we're built out of material, and if you're missing this material, this is what happens. I'm like, yeah, if you don't want to get AFib or constipation, you're missing one mineral, and it's called magnesium, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's in your skin, it's selenium. This is not hard. And so it's really cool because minerals are the sparks of life. So 100% of all dis-ease in my book goes back to a mineral deficiency and finding out which minerals are they. And we all learned about this in school, periodic table of elements, right? There's hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, right? And so hydrogen vibrates differently than magnesium or sodium or potassium. And so that means it does something different in the body, and it sparks activity at the cell level, at the organ level, at the tissue level, right? And so when something's wrong in the body, it's like, okay, what's wrong with the spark plugs? Are we missing some? Yeah, we're missing some, because there should be like 180, we're missing a bunch of them. So I think that people waking up right now and realizing, I'm not getting what I need in my food, especially if it's in a box or a can, right? And so I'm like, well, maybe I should go back to eating at least fruits and vegetables. Yep, that's great. The more natural permaculture, organic you can get, wonderful. The darker the color, the more mineral content, the more vitamins. So at least being aware that microbiome depends on your vegetation because it lives off of fiber, right? Your minerals and your vitamins all come from plants. Every one of your amino acids that you need to build proteins comes from plants. You can eat the dead animal if you want, but you don't need to. All of it comes in plants. And so I think we're getting the awareness now back to that we are a plant eating society with a long intestinal system. The short intestinal tracts are for carnivores, guys. Look at your lions, right? Every herbivore is going to have a long intestinal system like we do, 22 to 27 feet long. I don't care if you eat meat, but you have to be careful of what meat you're getting. We have half a cow in our freezer from our family farm in Arkansas.
Too. Yep. But it's grass-fed, grass-finished. Yeah.
But you know where it came from. Yeah. You know where it came from. So just being aware. And that's just neat because as you start being aware of one thing, it's kind of fun and addictive, and you get aware of it. So
it is. So for people listening that are like, okay, it sounds like, because you're you and you have all those charts in your head. So
yes.
when somebody shares their symptoms, you're right away starting to kind of correlate. And I watch my husband does the same thing as he's talking to patients. He can tell, I can see the process in his brain. But so do you do symptom based? Do you recommend testing for people? Like, where do people start? I think literally everybody who hasn't already, like you said, been paying attention and been intentional absolutely it's just like everybody has too much exposure. Everybody has some mineral deficiency for sure.
Yeah.
But like, how do listeners figure out, where do I start with that?
That's a really good question. Well, that's why I created all these charts. I've got a bunch of them in my book. The fourth edition literally just got finished. I'm so grateful.
Oh,
But
congratulations.
charts are so important because, or just understanding, like, so how would they start? Yeah, we have it kind of easy because I have all the charts for my students, but it kind of makes it easy. But you can, like, why I love mineral and vitamin and amino acid and nervous system charts, neurotransmitters and hormone charts, because then you can lay them all in front and be like, okay, I'm showing the deficiency in these amino acids. Well, these amino acids build, like, let's say, glutamic acid, right? We need to work on our GABA, right? We need to, because we are having seizures or Tourette's or whatever, or we need to work on lysine because we're having too many symptoms of viral outbreaks, right? And so when we look at, okay, 4 of the amino acids I'm missing all help me lose weight, they're all helpful in the metabolism processes of the body, well, then we want to get more of those amino acids, and they're all found in spirulina. So I think for the average listener, yes, symptoms are phenomenal. Just don't go to ChatGPT. Like, be very, very careful when you go with these symptoms, because they're screwed up. For fun, I'll go to ChatGPT and go, here, tell me how to get rid of this. And they're like, and I'm like, that's no. This is what I do for a living. You're never going to get rid of it that way, ever. And so we did create something, by the way. I think it's releasing to the public this week. We created something called ZuZu, and it's years and years of not just my teaching, but all of the doctors and practitioners we have in our courses. Most of them, we have everything in one closed AI. So it's just our education.
Oh, wow.
So now,
yeah.
I wrote a book on reversing 350 of the top health concerns in America, and you can do it at home. Like, I don't care if it's Parkinson's or MS or whatever, we list literally what you can be doing and what modalities you can be using. And so that's good, because I know, like, Natural News, Mike Adams, he's got one like that as well. There's people that are like us that are like, hey, we just want people to get well, and get answers. And so I think the day is coming, but people have to be aware, don't use anything open. Like, be very leery of what you find using AI to cure you or help with your issues. So symptoms are super important. I'm glad you brought that up, Julie, but there's always upstream. You don't want to treat the symptom like that.
No, that's what the whole Western medical system is based on.
Gosh. So many people come in and they're on hormones. I'm like, why are you on hormones? What did they do about your nervous system? And they look at me like, well, your nervous system controls all your endocrine system. So you don't go to hormones. I wouldn't recommend that, because once you start taking it, you don't make it anymore. And so why don't you look at the nervous system? And they're like, oh, I'm like, because the neurologist doesn't meet with the endocrinologist. Right. And that's sad, because we should be meeting together and bridging Eastern and Western medicine for good. And so that's what we specialize in our school, because we want to bridge them. We all should be working together for the good of people.
Absolutely. And listeners know I'm married to a physician. I'm not anti-Western medicine. God forbid I need acute care. I am going to a hospital. But it does not handle well. Like, it's a sick system. It's not a well system. And so I totally concur. The bridging is why we're having this conversation. Yes. And the empowering of, I do think we create this kind of victim mentality with people when it comes to health conditions. And it does become empowering that, like, oh, I can change what I'm eating. I can be mindful about exposures. I want to circle, though, to you, because you said nervous system, and I really feel like nervous system dysregulation, or whatever you want to call it, it is another, and these are all interwoven, because we are complex beings. So they impact each other, and you just, again, we're not compartments. So that specialty medicine doesn't work here, but there's so much. If you're not managing nervous system regulation, you're not going to heal. And so whether it's because you're not outside enough, or you're overexposed, or it's, I think, become the start. I think has to be the starting place for people.
Absolutely. Nervous system is the starting place because the nervous system controls everything in the body. If you think about that, you've got this, 3 to 5 pound brain sitting on a 2 ounce atlas. And then through that atlas, there's like a hole and 31 sets of nerves come down your spinal column, right? And then they go and they deliver information to the organs, glands, and tissues. Well, if there's a subluxation in that spinal column, now the pancreas isn't getting the information it needs to, or the breast, or the uterus, or the prostate, right? So we need to look at making sure our nervous system, number one, isn't being pinched off. Like it's like if you pinched off the electricity in your bedroom, you wouldn't have any electricity. So you'd go and fix that right away because you need the electricity. So in the body, that the electrical systems, we have 4 electrical systems, and most people may not know we have more than one. So we have these, the brain nerves that are coming down our spinal column. We also have cranial nerves that are in our brain. One of them leaves the brain, but the cranial nerves stay in the head, and they treat the eyes, ears, nose, right, the limbic system, and then the vagus nerve. That's the vagabond nerve, and that goes through all the major organs of the body. And the vagus nerve is under attack. Yeah, it's under attack.
Yeah.
And then the meridians, hello, 5,000 years we've been using acupuncture for a reason, because it is the number one thing for PTSD and the number one thing to get pregnant and the number one thing for pain. Like, I love acupuncture. It is the absolute most important thing I think anybody can have done is acupuncture. And you can do needleless acupuncture now. Actually, you and your husband might really enjoy getting a set of dolphins. It's needleless acupuncture. It uses electricity. You can remove scarring like within 2 sessions. Like, it is amazing for anybody who's been in an accident or a C-section, any kind of scarring internally or externally. These dolphins are amazing. We use them all the time. But that's going to open up the meridians so the body can start healing, So we have these electrical systems, and they need to be the number one thing we address, because no matter what hormone you're taking, if your nerves are pinched to your thyroid, you're never going to make T4. And you can't make T4 unless you have 4 molecules of iodine and tyrosine. Tyrosine, 4 molecules of iodine. So you can go to your husband, who's, I'm sure, absolutely amazing for having a wife like you, and he's bridging it, right? He's like, hey, let's look at this. You might be low on iodine. You might be low on tyrosine. Most medical doctors are like, here you go. Here's some medication for the rest of your life. And your husband's be like, no, we can take some iodine and some tyrosine and you'll be fine in a couple weeks. Like, so I think that's the difference right now, is that there are more physicians like your sweetheart that are well aware that these worlds should be not colliding, they should be unifying, together. And
it
I
should
see
be
it myself.
we call it a big toolbox, right? Like you want to be able to use the appropriate tools, and asking why, like you said, like, is it a building blocks issue? Is it what is is it Hashimoto's? Is it leaky gut from toxins, whatever? And so that getting underneath it, but like you said, then it comes down to, like, what is our body made of, and what's out of balance, what's pinched, what's and maybe what's missing or what needs more support.
Yes, we actually have these retreats where people come and they stay for 8 days, sometimes several months. We've had people here for months. And
Wow.
One of the ladies who's here on a retreat just started a couple of days ago. And she was like, the 3rd day, she's like, oh my gosh, this is the answer. She's like, I've been to so many doctors in the last 3 years and no one's been able to figure this out. She has had tremors in her leg. And I know that GABA is going to be controlling that. But also, we were like, so what environmentally were you exposed to 3 years ago when this started? Was there new carpeting? Was there new furniture? Well, was there a new drywall? Did you move to a new home? And she was like,
How did you know?
my God. She had no idea. She'd been chemically, castrated practically, chemically enhanced. And so now we have her on binders and a liver cleanse and that GABA. I mean, so it's like when you can look as to where the source of this issue started from, a deficiency or an exposure or an issue with the electrical systems,
Sure.
it just makes it so much easier to wrap your head around what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm
Amazing. And it, like you said, it's usually simpler than we think it's going to be, right? Like, how has nobody asked her, like,
No,
to set the stage of when did this start? It's just wild. Yeah. And there are patterns. We're all unique. But there are also these kind of, fairly expected patterns of like, if this, then that. And, if you ignore this, well, then you may end up with that. So,
Yes.
so amazing, really. So you really are teaching people to look at the big picture, and obviously teaching them also about probably way more than they ever learned about their own bodies.
Oh, that's the truth. Yeah, I have. I can guarantee that. Matter of fact, when I opened up my practices in Wisconsin, when I first opened and started seeing clients, and it was fun because I'd be like, I had a secretary, and I was like, "You just tell them I'm not meeting with them unless they're going to do what I say for 6 months. I'm not going to waste my time or their money." I'm like, I'm over that. Like, I don't care.
Yeah,
And it's still
I can't do it for you. Yeah.
It's not cheap to see me, and this is what I expect you to do, and boom, because I'm not wasting your time or your money.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't have to. And people are very receptive to that because they do learn so much. One of the ladies today that I scanned a whole family this morning. I worked with a whole family, did some clinical work with them, and I was like, I found out what's going on with her eyes. It was a lens to her left eye, and she's like, "How did you know?" And I'm like, "Because it shows up, on all the testing." And so we were able to give her protocols that she'll use for 3 or 4 major things over the next year. I'm like, "Good, I'll see you whenever you come back. But here, do this, do that." Like, people want to know what's going on in their bodies now. And I think it's really cool because they're very much aware now that there's things they can do at home that can help them. And so I'm really thankful for social media for that. I'm just not really thankful when it comes to, here, buy this, buy this, buy this. And
Right.
they're paid influencers, and no, don't buy that crap. So it's kind of fishy for people to know, what to do. So finding people like you, Julie, because you're not out there selling all this stuff.
No.
Like, that's what I love. You're here just to give information, educate others. And if they want to know about iodine, you want to get nasty on iodine. Yeah. Yes, you don't want to do that. If you're looking to
Right.
get something, I do recommend this, but I just think it's great. People are very much wanting to take control of their bodies again. But better, I've never seen it. I've never seen it so exciting as since the COVID rolled out. Now people they're right and awake. They want to take care of their bodies, and I think it's awesome.
Well, I love that you're seeing that in numbers, because I laugh. I say sometimes, like, I live in a bubble where I feel like, oh, the world's getting it. And then, and then I drive by the fast food restaurants and I'm like, no, my little bubble, the bubble is growing. But I do agree. And I remember even in 2020 saying that people in COVID were going to go one direction or the other, right? Individually making this choice of, this is a time where we get it and we're going to up-level health and take some control, or not. And so I do think there is a lot of writing on the wall that we're moving in the right direction. Yeah. And the right direction literally is back to nature, how we are created to live. So it really isn't that complicated.
I agree. I'm like, no matter what people's religious beliefs are. So I love God. I have an incredible kind of relationship with the Almighty, but I don't affiliate with religions. And so I left religion, and that was a while ago. But I love God. No matter what your beliefs are. Yeah. There could not have been an animal on this planet or a human without vegetation, because how are you supposed to get the minerals and the vitamins out of the ground and the amino acids?
Right.
You don't just breathe them. You're like, oh, I'm going to breathe in all my minerals today, right?
Yeah.
I'm breatharian, but like you don't, like you eat them. Like when you're eating your fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, like you're bringing all these minerals into the body, and they do something. And that's when you're missing a mineral, you're missing something in the body. Something is not going to be triggered right. Just like with GABA, I didn't have enough GABA, so I was having seizures. Eat a bunch of GABA-rich foods, and foods that will literally provide me with glutamic acid and all the ingredients I need to make GABA. And now I haven't had a seizure in 32 years or whatever, 35 years. So and I see that all the time. I get to see that all the time, all the time. Oh my gosh, I get to see kidney stones completely disappear, appendix issues disappear, and no, they didn't have it removed, and cancers and epilepsy and narcolepsy, all of it, ADD, ADHD. Yeah. It's just when they change their diet. Like, that's the number one thing that any of my people do, is they change their diet. Yeah. And it's pretty cool. It's really cool.
Do you have is there well, I already heard it, but I'll let you say it again if that's what you choose. As far as diet, well, because what I love about your journey, and I know I have no question, knowing what I know now, if I look back at my healing journey, my throw spaghetti at the wall approach, I shouldn't have felt better when I did, because I was still missing really big things. But I really do believe I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing now. And so therefore I got that jump start. And I heard you say now you understand why eating the way you decided to eat when you were having seizures fixed it. But like, where in your journey? So I have no doubt it's because you too were supposed to be on this road and helping others heal. When were you able to look back over your shoulder and be like, oh, that's exactly why eating that way worked for my seizures?
That's interesting. So I had my first green drink 40 years ago in college. So I was 18. And so I started getting aware of, okay, food's actually mattering to my body. Like I feel better when I eat these things and I don't eat those things. Yeah. So then fast forward a few years and I go through okay, I'm going to get rid of my epilepsy because I know I can. And like, number one, what's the number one thing I did? Mindset, everybody. Yes. Mindset. You have to believe this is possible. You knew you could get over RA, and thank God, because you can. Like you knew, but you couldn't have done that had you not believed in it.
Right.
And so then it was probably when I became an HHP, I became a holistic healthcare practitioner, very exciting, blah, blah. But then I wrote my own curriculum for other courses. I was like, the HHP is amazing, but there's so much that I was not taught that I believe should be also in people, like every lay mother should understand how these things work. It was when I wrote my neurotransmitter charts, and I really focused on I did a deep dive into neurotransmitters several years ago now, because quite honestly, every personality type is a neurotransmitter type.
Sure.
There's no such thing as personality types. It's all which neurotransmitters are firing more than another. If you're acetylcholine, then you're planning all the reunions, right? If you're dopamine, you're jumping off of roofs. It's just all neurotransmitters, guys. And so that is when I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool, because I was like 40 something.
That's amazing.
Like, this is amazing. It was actually the food, and it was neat, so yeah, those, just understanding, the how and the why and what was missing. But your husband would love it. I don't know if you've gone to Taiwan yet or not, but you would be in heaven, because you can go to Taiwan and their hospitals, like there's a massage artist right next to the chiropractor, right next to the person doing acupuncture in the hall outside the surgery room. Like it's all right there, Right. And you go to the pharmacy and it's all chicken's feet and all sorts of barks and things like the apothecary and medicine, like 17% of it. So it's just neat to see that. People are realizing, oh, minerals come out of the ground. You get them in your weeds. There's nothing. There's no such thing as a weed, anybody. If you've got cleavers growing up in your backyard, you probably walk barefoot and the whole earth knows you need cleavers to clean your lymphatic system. So I think if people start looking at herbs as medicine, and if you walk barefoot, this is proven. I have so many stories to share this with you. But like if you're walking barefoot outside and you're not spraying your lawn, the earth is going to give you what you need. People, we are so interconnected with the mycelium of the earth and with each other. We are just coming into being aware as how connected we are. But the mycelium, which runs underneath the entire planet, so underneath every tree, every riverbed, every creek, everything is that mycelium. If you've gardened, you've probably cut through it, that little thin, white, thin layer that goes underneath your entire garden. That is communicating with the entire earth underneath your feet. So that is really real. That's really real. So stop looking at things growing in your garden as weeds, or things growing in your backyard as weeds, because it could literally be the medicine you need. And if you ever want stories on that, let me know, because it's pretty wild. It's pretty cool.
You just gave me a beautiful new perspective on our weed-filled garden. So thank you.
Take pictures of what they are and look them up, and you're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that is so true!" You're going to look at them and be like, "That is so true." It's really cool. When I bought I mentioned cleavers because when I bought the home here, it's a lot of acres, and I walk barefoot. I walk barefoot all over all 60 some acres of the property here. But I noticed the first year, there were cleavers everywhere. And I was like, huh. So as I got to know the previous owner better, about a year and a half after I bought the property, I reached out. I was like, hey, have you ever had like issues with the lymphatic system? Or like, she's like, oh my gosh, my whole life. I'm like, yeah. Did you know that all these
They were
these
trying to
herbs
help you.
are trying to heal you, you know? But
Oh
she
my
would always
goodness.
spray. And so they never could
Oh,
grow. And so I don't spray. And
neither.
so boom, they were coming up everywhere. I was like, okay, I get it now. So it was cool. It was really cool.
It is amazing. Yeah. So this is going to be my fun weekend now, is identifying the weeds. And we live in the middle of farmland. And so, it gets windy and there is no, yeah. And I don't spray. So it's funny because somebody wanted me to, this will probably give you a giggle. You have all of these supposedly, healthier or cleaner options to control weeds, and one is I don't even, is it like Dawn and vinegar or something? And I'm like, I wouldn't put Dawn on my my property. Like, I mean, it might be better than glyphosate, but it might not. I'm not sure. So,
It's right. You don't have to use Dawn. You can use a natural bush cleaner, by the way. It's just the enzymes that are going to help dissolve
yeah,
those
well,
weeds. Oh, that's so sweet. Yep.
it's really funny. I was like, no, not happening. But
I
yeah,
love
it's
it.
also,
You are a diehard.
yeah,
I love it.
I am. Because I am still working on, I'm a collector. So
Uh-huh.
anything, I remember the first toxin panel I did that it had environmental toxins, and my BPA was off the chart and my glyphosate was off the chart. And, I've been eating organic since it was a thing. I've had a garden for 20 years. I have, I stopped using plastic ages ago. And I'm like, great, glad to know it's still in there. I have more work to do. Layers, right? It's like, okay.
Binders. I know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I
And
love
it's
it.
fine. People don't even know it's in there. We do a lot of live blood cell analysis. We love live blood cell analysis. I have such a great microscope, and it is amazing when people look at their blood and they can see what's actually in their blood. You can. I want me to show you a couple of things. One of our
Sure.
clients we just did, who's here on a retreat. I was like mortified when we
Oh,
saw what was in her blood. It was absolutely incredible, and it was because she lives in an environment. Her society that she lives in is one that has a lot of mold, and
mm,
she can't move out of this place. But check this out. This is going to just freak you out, right? So, well, here. That's just a bunch of crystals, right? So those are all crystals that are. But notice
okay.
none of her white blood cells or red blood cells are round. None of
Yeah.
them.
Wow.
She's terribly sick. Then we have this baby,
Oh.
right? This isn't one drop of blood. That's a big, long worm, right?
Ooh.
And then you look at this. This is mold. This will freak you out. People who have mold in their body, this is
Yeah.
what is going on at the cell level. Oh, hit the play button here, Karen. So look at that mold. No wonder you feel so lethargic. That's all mold. And like
Wow.
that's all outside of the cell, and your body just gets stuck, These are gut toxins, right? Those are gut toxins in your blood. And so like
Wow.
literally, it's just, if you're feeling sluggish, there's probably sludge in the blood, right?
Right.
So how do we clean the blood? What you eat, what you drink, what you put on your skin. So if you're waking up and having coffee, now let's think this. What is interstitial fluid? What is extracellular fluid? And
Right.
what the heck is your cell floating in? Coffee? like, just think about this. Like, maybe you want to start with a couple quarts of water, or maybe 1 quart of water, and then have your coffee or your manna brew,
Yeah.
right? And then drink more water. Like,
Right.
just becoming more aware that that stuff is in your blood, right? Go find someone who does live blood cell analysis, and look, you can find spirochetes in your blood. You can see so much in the blood, and then it explains, oh, that's what's going on. That's why I feel like this. So
Yeah.
it's no wonder once we saw her blood, what she was dealing. I mean, we already knew
Yeah.
what she was dealing with, but I
Right.
was like, yeah,
But
now
sometimes the
she can see it.
seeing is powerful.
Yes.
It really
Yeah.
is.
So
Yeah.
she told us last night her favorite food is ice cream. She eats it all day, every day.
Oh
I'm
no.
like, okay, okay. So we're feeding all the candida, all the parasites,
Yep.
everything we found in her, right? So I'm making her ice cream, It's still going to be sweet. It has bananas and cashews and fresh coconut, right? But I'm going to make her this ice cream with vanilla, and she's going to be blown out of the water, and it will at least be something better, that will be going into the bloodstream and not this concoction of quote unquote dairy in ice cream. Most of it's not dairy, by the way. So yeah, pretty crazy.
Amazing. So amazing. I could talk to you for hours, but we are at that point in the conversation where listeners know I'm going to ask you for one step that they can take starting today. And I know that's not easy, but to move the needle on their health.
The one step would be their mind. The one step would be literally your mind, because your body will follow whatever the mind says. Where focus goes, energy flows. So if you focused on a healthier body or a healthier you, your little inner spirit, I call it the who in you, that who needs to be driven to change you. And so working on the mind over everything is the most important thing you can do. So if you wanted one takeaway, it would be believe that you can be better. Believe you can make that dream happen. Believe you can influence others. Believe you can start. And all you need to do is start. And the first thing I'd start with is water. The first thing I start with is hydration and salt.
Yeah. Amazing. So much gold. I hope you'll come back and share more with us. I'm excited for all of your projects you're working on. For people that are not going to check the links or the show notes, where is the best place to find more about you?
You bet. You can just go. I finally created one landing page that has access to my school and Lilly Fields, and we have an online church, and all of that is at ZuZuUnleashed.com. So ZuZu Unleashed, because I'm unleashed.
Because you are.
I just like say it like it is, honey, right? That's it. ZuZuUnleashed.com. And I'm really sucky, terrible at social media. I have someone who posts for me. So like she'll make some posts of different things that I'm involved in, but I promise I'll get better one day. I promise. I have a list of 370 videos I want to shoot, and I don't take the time to do it because I'm so busy at the center all the time helping people.
Well, which is that's your calling. And so we thank you so much for sharing part of your journey and a little smidgen of your wisdom with us today. I really highly recommend everybody go check you out and check out the center. And it's a beautiful space. And I want to go and have you make me special ice cream.
Yes. Your friends will have a retreat.
Delicious. Yeah. ZuZu, thank you so very much.
Thank you. You have a beautiful day. And goodbye, everybody. Remember, we love your guts.
Yes. For everyone listening, remember you can get those transcripts, links, and show notes by visiting inspiredliving.show. I hope you had a great time and enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Inspired Living with Autoimmunity, hosted by Julie Houghton, your autoimmune coach. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone in your life who needs to hear it. For the complete show notes, links, transcripts, and everything discussed today, visit inspiredliving.show. You can also send in your questions there to be answered by Julie in a future episode. That's inspiredliving.show. Remember, it's time to take your power back.